Hello and welcome to Crimax. In today's episode, we'll be discussing a missing persons case that takes place in Vatican City. I'm going to be turning it over to my Bebe Bear for a more in-depth synopsis.
Ooh, thank you. So today's case does take place in Vatican City. It is a missing persons case that does actually get the Pope involved at some point. And I think we all have a lot of feelings about...
Scandal!
Yeah, scandalous, hidden, secret Vatican stuff. And today we're going to talk about one that's never been solved. So what's our fun fact before we get to the case?
So a fun fact for today, we're going to shift more towards kind of survival.
It's very helpful for this podcast theme.
Yes it is. Maybe not for this one so much.
Well, no, but just in general, true crime in general, it's good to know survival stuff.
Yep. So if you're ever stuck in more like swampy, rural kind of areas, things like that.
Things I'm very familiar with.
Yep. What?
Oh, I know all about swamps and rural areas.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I grew up in the weeds.
Yeah, true. But anyways, so I will state beforehand, when it comes to certain plants and stuff, definitely do your research and know what plants can and can't be eaten or used for certain things. Know which part of the plants can be eaten and things, because some plants are, some parts of it okay, others aren't. But there is one plant that from head to toe is absolute gold in survival, and that's the very common cattail.
Meow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or I like to call it the burnt corn dog.
Yes, it is. But the corn dog part has a lot of really dry fluff that can be used for tinder, so it can be used to easily light a fire. The corn dog itself, as well as the stem and even the roots, can be, chopped up and boiled for the nutrients that are in it. It's a very nutrient-rich plant.
So, make a tea out of it?
Pretty much, yeah. From every piece of it can be used.
And you can also prank children into thinking corn dogs are growing in the yard and eat one, and it's got fluff and crap in your mouth everywhere. I don't know how you haven't done that, because it seems like something you would fall for.
No, I've participated in a lot of stupidity, but that is not one I've seen.
Did you not have cattails? Because I feel like if you had cattails...
No, I grew up with cattails everywhere.
Okay, well, I feel like that's something you would have fallen for.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually.
Not yet.
Never crossed my mind. Was never a thought.
What if I cook you corn dogs, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, honey, they're burnt, and then you accidentally eat a cattail? Would you be mad at me?
No, because I feel like I should at least know the weight difference between a cattail and a corn dog. It's a fucking plant.
I know.
It's like a feather. It weighs a little bit more than a feather.
Well, maybe I'd burn all the flavor out of it, and it's just a hollow shell.
I probably would.
Yeah, you probably would. Taste it. Yeah, you can't make me feel bad about cooking.
You gotta try things at least once.
That's so gross.
A little.
Anyways, are you ready to get to today's case?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so today we're talking about the missing persons case of Emanuela Orlandi. She was born January 14th, 1968 in Rome, Italy. She was one of 5 children. She had 4 brothers and sisters, 1 brother, 3 other sisters, and their family lived in an apartment inside Vatican City. Now, if you don't know what Vatican City is, it's where the Pope lives. It's like the Catholic center of everything. It's actually kind of like its own country. They have their own laws, their own rules.
Isn't it in Italy?
Yeah, it's technically in Italy, but it's on the border of Rome as well.
Yeah.
But it's technically in Italy, but they don't follow Italian rules. They have their own little government situation in there, and it's known for being shady. There are so many secrets people talk about in there, honestly.
Have you ever seen the movie, what is it?
Da Vinci Code?
Yeah, the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
It has all that, actually whole series, not Dante's Peak.
Angels and Demons?
Yeah, Angels and Demons. There's 3 movies that has, oh my gosh. Hanks. Tom Hanks. Yeah, he stars in them. But yeah, it does this whole the Angels and Demons.
Yeah, Angels and Demons is the best one out of the 3.
They have one that does the whole Vatican and everything, and
yeah,
they're actually really good.
And you know what? There's so many conspiracies and secret things about the Vatican, and I kind of believe them because you never know what's going on inside there.
It's kind of like the Illuminati type thing.
Yeah, basically. Such a secret society. Yeah, it's I don't know. There's something about it that makes me really untrustworthy. Why does no one know what's going on inside that little country of its own? How did it get it to be in its own country? It's odd. But honestly, they were living inside Vatican City, and they were one of only a couple people in there. So 1,000 people lives in Vatican City today. I Googled it back in 1980s, when they were growing up and everything. There was only 724 residents that lived full-time inside the Vatican City. So it's a very small community. 700 people is really nothing. So they grew up in like playing in like the gardens of the Vatican. It was supposed to be like the most safe place because it's such a small community. Her dad, Urkel, and her grandfather were both clerks in Vatican City, working at like the bank and taking loans and things. So they had like a good standing, and their family was pretty well known inside the city.
Urkel, really?
Yeah.
Dude's name was Urkel.
Urkel. Urkel? How do you say it with an Italian accent? Urkel? Ocole?
Oh, I have no clue.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
There's only one time I've ever heard somebody named Urkel.
Is it spelled with an E?
It wasn't in real life.
Yeah, but is it supposed to E? I don't know how you spell Urkel.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought like the Urkel was like Urkel. This one was spelled with an E.
Then it probably had. Did you ever notice if it had like an
No, it didn't.
apostrophe above it?
Nope.
Okay, so it's not.
According to Wikipedia, no.
Oh, because we all know Wikipedia can be trusted.
Well, to find the father's name, that's what I had to do. Okay.
That's all good.
And it's also a lot of the sources for this case were in Italian, so a lot of the smaller theories and like little small sections, I'm just gonna skip. I'm gonna basically get to the main theories of the case because it's the easiest thing that I could find to translate. So in June of 1983, Emanuela was 15 years old. She just finished her second year in high school in Rome. She had a love for music, as I think a lot of people do, especially growing up in their teenage years. She loved to play piano, she could play the flute, and she also did choir. Now, even though it was the summer and she had just finished school because it was in June, she was taking music lessons, and she was taking number 64 bus a few times a week to go to her lessons at a music school. And it was only a few stops from her home. It wasn't really that far. It was technically in Rome, but again, Vatican's like on the little border between Italy and Rome. So on June 22nd, 1983, she asked her brother to ride the bus with her and go to music school with her for the day, but he declined, and he said that it's like the biggest regret of his life that he didn't go with her that day. But she wore a white t-shirt, jeans, and gym shoes. She went to school. She made it there slightly late to her lesson. She was acting kind of off, and she left a few minutes early from class. She got there late and left early from class, which is kind of weird. But honestly, I've heard this about people, is that they're slightly off the day they go missing or murder or something. It's because you have a sixth sense that knows something's going to happen, you know? You ever heard of someone like acting weird right before something bad happens to them?
Oh yeah, because nobody ever doesn't do that. That's pretty much classic 101. Like, I'm going to disappear.
Well,
come on now.
Yeah, but what if it's like not their own choice? What if someone just gets straight up murdered or has a tragic accident?
Doesn't matter.
They know.
Classic 101.
You might know.
Classic 101. The universe knows all.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bad feeling every day about something, so I'm screwed in that scenario. I'm like, oh, it's another day of paranoia over here. Oh, I'm anxious about nothing.
See, that's why you need a cat.
I have 3.
Yeah, they're great anxiety reducers.
Zatchel is anxiety. He does not count.
Put Beatty in your lap and you're just good for the whole day.
He's a sweet baby.
Exactly. He will melt your anxiety all away.
So after she left class a few minutes early, she called home to her sister and talked about how she met a man who wanted to help her like get a job selling Avon makeup and cosmetics and stuff. And she thought that was a great idea. Her sister said, hey, like, let's discuss this with our parents before you start taking some job with some stranger. She agreed and decided to come home. Now, she didn't actually make it home at any point, so there's that. But she was spotted later that day speak to a redheaded woman, and the second sighting of her was her getting into a green BMW with an Avon bag in her hand. So they're thinking she took this offer from the man to sell Avon makeup, didn't decide to wait until her parents, and went with him in this BMW. Also, green is a weird color for a car. I'm sorry, it is. Right?
It depends.
I mean, sometimes I see like a really cool car as lime.
The forest green.
I don't know. I think lime's kind of fun on like a really sportsy car, like a Jeep.
Okay, you didn't go through the horror that I went through.
What are you talking about? Oh my God,
my first vehicle was a lime green 49cc scooter.
Babe, we've talked about this like 4 times.
Rocking that bad boy my senior year.
We talked about your trauma about this color for like 40 times now.
Go wreck with it.
Quit wrecking stuff.
Yeah, it was the same day that I gave blood. I donated blood too.
You might need that blood at that day. So the last sighting of her was getting inside this green BMW with an Avon bag, and then no one heard anything else from her or saw her after that. 3 days go by, and a man named Pierre Luigi, which Luigi is such a cute name, and I really like the character Luigi from Mario Kart.
It's me, Luigi.
No, that's Mario. It's what Mario says. It's me, Mario.
Luigi says the same thing.
Okay. Well, he was 16 years old. He claimed that his girlfriend knew a girl named Barbara who fit the description of Emanuela, and she wore glasses. Now, Emanuela did have glasses. She did not like to wear them, but it's possible that she could be wearing glasses. She also said that this Barbara lady sold Avon makeup to his girlfriend and also played the flute. That's some weird facts to know about a random lady who sells makeup, that she plays the flute. Like, how would you know that? It's weird, unless she's carrying it with her. You know?
I don't know how you know anything. We don't talk to people.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not that observant that I would be like, oh, no, you look like you play the flute. That's weird. But anyway, Mr. Pierre Luigi. Huh?
How does somebody have the look?
I don't know, but how would you know this lady who sold your girlfriend makeup plays the flute? Like, you could say she looks like her, sure, but you wouldn't know she plays the flute. That's just a weird description. But this dude was only 16 years old, so maybe he was just adding things to it to make the story more believable. I'm not sure. Okay, so this is hilarious, and I'm not making this up. You can Google it. The next lead came from a man named Mario.
Was he Luigi's brother?
No, but that's hilarious to me.
Is Peach somewhere in there?
No.
What about my man Toad?
What about your man Yoshi? Come on now.
I'm a Toad guy.
Nah, Yoshi's where it's at. He's so cute. Now, Mario did say that he saw a similar person named Barbara selling Avon makeup. He just basically confirmed Pierre Luigi's story. But that's the only, things we know about this Barbara lady. They never found her and questioned her or anything. An investigator tracking the case actually tracked down the BMW that was seen on the scene at a repair shop getting fixed for a broken window. The window had been broken from the inside, like someone was trying to get out, which I think is a great, fantastic lead. From the repair guy, he got the address and name of the person who got the car repaired, and it was a woman who actually just opened the door when he asked questions and was like, "Leave me alone. Don't bother me. Don't come back here." And then when he went to the authorities inside the Vatican, which is the SSID, they were told to leave the woman alone. They were just drop this, leave her alone, don't come back here, don't follow this lead, it's not worth it. Which to me feels like a cover-up and a half. How do you feel about someone finding the car, seeing that it's being repaired, and then just telling people to drop it? That's so shady. Especially for the government, or their government, to be leave it alone. Drop it.
Yeah, if they have probable cause of something happening, then granted it's a wreck. If it's like an incident or whatever, then
a broken window from the inside seems kind of shady.
I don't even know how you would really what would be the purpose. Unless you're going underwater or you're trapped into it.
Well, if you just
at
take
that
it
point, it's just, hey, unlock the door and open it, stupid.
Yeah, but if you take it to the repair shop, they're not going to ask questions. They're just going to fix it. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but they're not working under normal government, so they can kind of just shut down whatever they want to without feeling bad about it, you know? Also, another thing to note is that another girl named Mirella Gregory, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, who was also 15 years old, the same age as Emanuela, went missing exactly 40 days from the time she went missing. So she went 40 days before Emanuela, but Emanuela's case got a lot more publicity. That's why we're covering her case. But it's the exact same thing. In the Vatican, 15-year-old girl missing. Weird. Suspicious. Very, very suspicious. Now, since Emanuela's family was semi-notable inside the Vatican City, the word of this disappearance, not really the first one, Morella's didn't really get as much publicity. Emanuela's information got to the Pope, and the Pope was like, hey, I know this family, let me try to get information on this case, which doesn't happen. I never hear about things like that. Not that I really follow the Pope, because I don't really know why he's famous. He's just a dude in a religion to me. I don't get it. Even though, I was in Philadelphia one time and the Pope came to town and they shut down half the city and I couldn't get out. It was terrible.
Yep.
Why is it why are you shutting down half the city because a dude's here that wears a funny hat? I don't get the, idolish thing, but the Pope heard about this and made a public appeal for information 11 days after she disappeared because, again, he knew the family. And that actually made this case a lot more difficult to get information on and solve because, oh my gosh, the Pope is involved in this missing person case. She must be really valuable. We can probably get a lot for her. If they kidnapped her, they could also do a lot to try to get, people could extort. Yeah, people extort or anything, information saying they have her, and, it makes the whole case blow up and make everything seem more, I hate to say more valuable because life is pretty valuable, but in the terms of Pope power, it's a lot. What?
I'm sorry, it's just funny. Pope power.
Pope power.
Yield double P.
PP.
I didn't want to say that.
I don't care. Now, once the Pope was asking for help on the case, he actually made appeals 8 times total to the public for information, which again just raised the stakes in this case a lot more. And a man they called like the Americano, just because he had an accent that didn't sound European or specifically Italian. They just assumed it was an American accent, didn't actually sound too American, but it again wasn't Italian. 2 days after the first appeal, started calling the family and then called the Vatican Church following up, saying that they were asking for the release of a Turkish terrorist who had tried to kill the Pope at some point. He tried 2 times to kill the Pope, and he was arrested the second time after shooting the Pope. He obviously lived. But they tried to say, like, we'll give you Emanuela if you give us the prisoner free. And it didn't really work. That's not really how things work. But a lot of different people, including like Turkish terrorists, took responsibility for this crime. A lot of the signs of this were pointing to a kidnapping because of all the calls and stuff for information. Like, here, we'll give you this if you give us, someone else. But there was never any like proof of anyone having her. The Americano guy did have a photocopy of her school registration card, as well as some sheet music for the flute that she was learning. But to me, it's sheet music. You can just ask someone what she was studying, and the school registration card, a photocopy of it, doesn't mean anything to me either. Do you think that's real proof, or that doesn't mean she's alive at all? Just having that, she could be dead and you would not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's no like a female called and was like, "Hey, it's me, help," but you can't verify that. And there was never any proof of her. There was no pictures or of any of her clothing sent or anything.
All that verifies is that you cross paths.
You crossed paths, you went to school and got some information from the office. That's really it. Like, they didn't send any pictures of her, they didn't send her clothes she was wearing or any information like that. So this didn't go anywhere, and obviously the terrorist was not let go at that time. The American man also had a request to speak to the Secretary of State for the Vatican. I didn't know they had all these positions in the Vatican. I feel like they were just like priests and stuff, but it's like a whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's a whole thing. They got cardinals, they got bishops, they got...
Yeah, but Secretary of State sounds very real.
They have like a whole rank structure, really.
But you know what I'm talking about? It sounds like kind of a real like official government instead of like a small secretive one.
Yeah.
And actually the American guy who was like saying he had Emanuela was granted this phone call with the Secretary of State for the Vatican. We don't know what the call said. They never like released that. I want to know what he said. Like, why was this your request for a kidnapping, is to talk to this man? I want to know what you said to this man. But again, secretive place at the Vatican, and they don't really give out information. They really didn't do much to help this case other than the Pope being like, help. They didn't do like a really thorough investigation. They were shutting down leads, and it's weird. I don't know, it's weird, but I'm not really surprised either. The leads from the American man as well as the Turkish situation all kind of just fizzled out. There was a bunch of other smaller leads that didn't really turn up anything, and they never got Emanuela back. We never know what happened to her. In 2019, there was a lead that the Vatican opened some tombs that had like a lot of mobster-ish bodies inside, and they also found some bones outside of a building when doing construction, but the DNA test for the bodies did not turn up any results that matched to Emanuela, and they didn't even like... That's the only like investigation you can see on the Vatican side for helping solve the case, is that they DNA tested some bodies and tombs, but that was the only like investigation that they proved for this case. Also, speaking of the Turkish terrorist dude who tried to kill a pope, which is a really weird thing to do, don't do that. He was released from prison in 2010, and the next year in 2011, he did an interview on TV claiming that the assassination attempt that he did on the pope was like the Vatican's idea. I don't think anybody believes that, but that's what he said. And he also said that the Emanuela situation, Emanuela was a prisoner of the Vatican's, and they forced her to be a nun in different European countries. So she technically could get a hold of her family if she wanted to, but she hasn't, and she's working as a nun. This story has changed a couple times, but that's the only leads we have on the case. What do you think?
Conspiracies upon conspiracies upon conspiracies.
Oh, you gotta give me more than that.
Kind.
I'm thinking the Vatican knows what happened to her. That's why they were like, shut this BMW lead down, and then that's it. Cover up upon cover up, because that's all I hear about this within this thing. Like, you know how like there's a lot of pedophilia going on, and then they, instead of firing a pope or something, not the pope. I don't know. Like, what, like priests is what the word I meant. Priests, instead of firing them, they'll just transfer them to a different church. I feel like that's the easy way to get things covered up, and I'm not really shocked if they covered up a murder or a kidnapping. Because if it's only 700 people living in your city and someone from that city goes missing, you're going to know.
You're bound to know, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's either that or unless she decided to run away or something like that, but...
Yeah, but if she was going to school and doing lessons or anything, I don't really see a reason to run away.
Yeah.
Unless she didn't like the religious side of it or something bad was happening inside the Vatican itself. Yeah. But even then is, like, what do you don't have anything to start a life with.
Yeah, I just don't really know. I mean, it's really hard to judge because, I mean, it's just, there's really no motives that I could think of for either way. There's
no motives for kidnapping and murdering and raping and such? That's what people do all the time.
No, yeah.
Crime of opportunity.
See, and it's really hard to judge with like the Vaticans and things like that with like, you know, religious standpoint, things like that.
Yeah, because we don't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just like you see most religions and how they're supposed to be and stuff like that, but then, you know, you have something like this going on, and it's just, I mean, it's...
It's this. So let's say this took place in America. We would have press conferences, updates.
Oh, yeah.
We would know what they're doing in the investigation. Yeah. You can call the station and like ask for updates. What are you doing to currently keep this active?
And that's also part of the reasons. It's just the Vatican is, they prefer to handle things internally, but they don't communicate. They don't communicate or get anything. So from the outside, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what,
if they're investigating,
if anything happened or anything like that. And
yeah,
I mean that to me makes the biggest mystery. I mean, or the biggest mystery / concern, because for all we know, she could have been found and everything's back to the same, but they don't communicate.
Well,
with
obviously
anybody.
It's not her dad has made statements like asking for her still, and there's still been people in Italy making stands like where is she, but the fact that they don't feel required to give us updates or tell us there's an investigation going on in the first place is weird.
And then seeing as how, since this place operates with their own like basically government, even if the governments talk to each other, probably is that even if there is information out there, the Vatican be like, redact this or something.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. And the fact that there was another girl that went missing exactly 40 days, the exact same age and the exact same place as her that went missing, it really just feels like like a pattern.
Yeah.
This one just got too much attention from the Pope and maybe they stopped doing it, Yeah.
Yeah, something like this is really kind of hard. Like to really make it a judgment or something like that, or kind of like I would think that I would want to dig a little bit more and really look into it a little bit more before I could really make a better judgment, I guess, on what I really think, because just all of it just sounds way like
I mean it's
sketchy,
feels
but
sketchy.
At the same time,
I mean, the Pope drawing all the attention to the case sounds like a good thing when cases get like really big and publicized. Yeah. But because it is the Pope, it feels like it's gonna bury real leads.
Yeah, and it's just like if you're like, even so, if you're like the leader of a religious sect that is all about, well, it's Christianity. It's all about being good and in a very gist, it's about being, doing the right thing and all this stuff. You would think that if the Pope's going to get involved, and of course, because he's the Pope, he's going to have influence and have power, do it in the right way. Use it to actually do something. Don't just be like, oh, hey, pop in, hey, I'm the Pope, and then that's it. We don't ever hear anything.
Hey, I'm the Pope, I know the family. That's it.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are you doing? Is anything happening? I mean, what's going on? You just can't just pop in and be like, yo.
He's not making a press conference here. Yeah. He's not telling us what's going on in the investigation. He's not giving us information on what happened. It's just, I don't know. It feels weird. And then when you go to a place where they're like, this is the car she was last seen in, shut that lead down. It makes me feel like a cover up. And honestly, it would not be the first time the Vatican covered up something.
I mean, that's not, I mean, if anything, you're supposed to be working more so supporting the outside. Like if this is a lead, you should be doing everything you can to support this. I mean, if they want to investigate the whatever car or whatever, it should be fully supported and be like, hey, anything we can do, have at it.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't really scream, hey, we're,
justice.
Great Christian,
Catholic.
thing. Yeah. We're gonna support you any way we can. Whatever you think you need, then we'll make it happen. Not, hey, no.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it was a cover-up, but I don't have any proof of this. I just feel like it's such a secretive place that we don't know anything about that makes me feel weird about it. And
I feel like this is like one of those things, not to be like a cliche from a movie, but I feel like this is kind of one of those things where you actually have to do a lot more digging, not just like online, but actually like get a hold of people and start calling people and getting information straight from people's mouths.
Can you call the Vatican? Is that a thing? I know you can go there as like a tourist.
Probably, maybe, but I mean, it's not like...
Well, no, because the American guy did call the church. So obviously you can call the Vatican.
You can and stuff, but I mean, even then, it's not like they're going to really tell you anything or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I mean, when it comes to stuff like this, like, I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
But at the standpoint, I will be non-biased, and actually, like, it could be possible, you got whatever, but, I'm like I'll believe it when I see it, but at the same point, I'm not going to deny that.
Wait, what are you believing? So this is the part where we start rambling about religion and spirituality and everything like that. It has nothing to do with the case, but stay tuned and we're just going to ramble a little bit.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm more the person that, like, I believe what I can see. But at the same point, if you have, like, an opinion, then, I'm not going to necessarily deny you right out of the gate.
You deny me my opinions all the time. Don't even play with me.
Because, like, I mean, for example, the Twin Towers thing, right?
Okay.
Which
okay.
We did a report on, or we did a podcast on it.
We did an episode 2 on Dr. Sneha Phillip, who went missing on September 10th.
Some people seem to think that it was an inside job. Some people seem to think that, where the plane hit was kind of different, like, or something like that.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of conspiracies. But, sure, I have maybe my own opinion, but, because I don't know, I wasn't there, and I personally don't know, I'm not going to write off all these different conspiracies and be like, no, you're stupid, whatever. I'm like...
You'll hear them out?
I'll hear them out at least. I mean, it could be possible, but I'm not going to invest all of my well-being into believing it,
I mean, you invest your whole well-being into being religious without being able to see it.
But
so
not
what
the
is
Vatican religious?
No, but Christian religious, so you can't you believe it, but you don't see it. So how do you write off any other religion then? Like, how do you write off Hinduism or Islam? How do you write off any of that if you can't? Because you can't see it either,
It's not so much that I'm writing it off.
Well, you are if you take a side. You pick a religion.
Yeah.
You could just be agnostic like the rest of us.
Yeah. No. Well,
but you are believing something without seeing it.
Yeah, I understand. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll give you that, but it's not just...
But you are writing other stuff off without seeing it, but you're believing other stuff you can't see.
No, I'm not necessarily writing it off. It's just like there are certain things about other religions that honestly I like Buddhism, like some of the things it teaches you. Hinduism, again, some of the things that it teaches you, like, peace and inner peace, different techniques to be, meditation, things like that. I love that. It's great. Honestly, there was a time where it's like... certain monasteries, like whenever you go and do your daily devotions, you do meditation in front of a Buddha. If it wasn't for that, because that's their deity, I would suppose. But if it wasn't for that, I could see myself going to a monastery for a couple of years and just living there and just, yeah. But so I mean, it's not so much that it's just there are certain things that are just like. I don't know. It's
I'm just saying
flaws.
I'm just saying that you believe something and don't see it, so you don't really valid.
No, I understand, but it's also more so of like, how do I say this? It's like it's also teaching a person how to be somebody worth actually being, like.
Well, that's just
having good morals and good ethics, and essentially the way they believe. Jesus Christ was basically God in the flesh. He was perfect. He had no flaws. If you're going to try and be someone, why not try to at least try to emulate someone worth being?
Well, you know how I feel about all this stuff and the fact that like people just pick and choose what they want to follow and stuff. Like, hey babe, we've had sex, and you know what? That is against the rules.
It is. I know. I don't disagree, honestly. And eventually, one day, I'm going to have to eventually face my sins.
Is it really a sin, though?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm not perfect. I know I have demons, and eventually, I'm going to have to,
But at least you didn't murder someone.
No, yeah.
I mean, there's always worse things than whatever little thing you do.
There are different levels of sin. They're not all the same.
Well, what do you think about me? You think I'm going to hell then, babe?
I mean, I'd have to say probably, yeah, unfortunately. But no. What I had what I was going to say.
I haven't done anything really terribly bad.
No, like growing up, and even to this day, you're not the only agnostic friend. AJ, the person that
I'm your friend now?
You know what I mean. You're not the only person. AJ, my buddy up in Pennsylvania, my coworker, we used to have bros night. We would hang out at his night and drink, eat pizza, and just watch crappy old school movies. He was agnostic. Actually, no, he was atheist, I believe. I had friends growing up some of my friends who I, trained with martial arts and stuff like that, he believed in the Greek gods, even the Egyptian gods. I have friends who are Wiccans and stuff like that. So, I mean, I got friends from everything. But yeah.
You just think you're right and we're wrong, which without proving it.
No, I just would hopefully.
I know you choose to believe. You choose to believe in something that you think is good.
Yeah, basically, what I think would be, that's what I choose.
Well,
I'm not stuck up and I don't push it on people. I mean, obviously, I'm dating someone who's agnostic.
Well, I there's something right, but I don't believe any one religion is correct, and I don't believe in a religion telling you what you should and should not do or think or be. And I also think that reincarnation is real, so there's that.
Yeah.
I think if let's say there's a whole God judgment, whatever. Who says you gotta live one lifetime to get your judgment? Why not live through 5 different scenarios or whatever, and then reach your judgment?
That would be hell.
But you don't know if you die and let's say your soul recycles to give you different scenarios, pros and cons of your life, and see what kind of person you become. Who says you get one run at it? Not me, bitches. Not me.
I was going to say the Bible.
Well, no, doesn't it say your soul is waiting for a judgment time? Who doesn't say you live 5 different lifetimes during that time? You don't know.
It tells you exactly what happens.
Well, some people get a shit run of the mill, stuck life, and I don't like that. I will actually
say what it actually says is, because a lot of people actually get this kind of wrong, and even growing up, is what I thought, is that when you die, because a lot of people, kids, their grandparents would die or whatever, and they'll say, oh, well, they're looking down at you from a better place.
Yeah.
No. They actually are in almost like a
limbo.
Like a limbo. They're sleeping until Judgment Day.
Okay,
so
but
until all of this ends, nobody's up there, nobody's down there. They're basically in limbo.
But let me ask you something then. I know that we are totally off topic for the case, but it's okay because we finished it. We don't have a case.
It's gonna be a stupidly short case, by the way.
So, yeah, well, we didn't have that much information on it. So if you think they're in limbo, do you believe in ghosts?
See,
because I do. I've seen some shit.
Now, there are a difference between ghosts and demons, right?
Yeah.
There are, and the Bible does say this. There are demons. There are such things as demons.
So do you believe in exorcism, possession, the whole deal?
Yes and no. These days, I think it's overly hyped, but there are circumstances where, yeah, sure. I mean, the Bible says that there are demons and that they, that you should be wary and things like that. Ghosts, see, I don't know. I don't know if they're ghosts or if they're just demons kind of messing with people.
What, as in what if it's someone you think if they're taking the shadow shell of another person's body?
See, I don't think so. Because, I mean, again...
Because a lot of people have had good experiences with spirits.
Yeah. And see, I don't know. I mean, I know from what, this, but yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know, honestly. I'm not, I'm going to say, I may, as much as I talk about the Bible and God, do I know all of it? Heck no.
No one's going to. No one's going to know everything.
No, even if I did read the whole thing, which I haven't.
Yeah, but honestly. No one's going to know everything.
But no, I'm just enough to be able to like say like a little bit, and then maybe point you in the way. But like,
And the Bible is so vague.
No, it's
so vague. You can interpret how you want to.
No, I will say it can be, but and it does kind of annoy me is that anytime it leaves a question in one part, usually it'll answer it in another. It really makes you work for it, but there are no actual flaws in the Bible.
The flaw is the fact that some random dudes wrote a book, and I don't really buy that.
63 random dudes.
Oh my god, that's so crazy.
62 and one woman.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I just, y'all can believe whatever you want. I'm perfectly fine with anyone having their own religious beliefs.
Right.
I don't believe a random book written by random people tells me anything I need to know.
Well, supposedly they weren't just written by the people, but it's basically like
it's stories, right?
Well, not just that. It's God speaking, like speaking through, not literally speaking through them, but God speaking through them.
Yeah, but anybody can say that, you know.
Yeah, but at that point, I mean, it stood the test of time.
It stood the test of time because people thought it was
centuries.
good. But you know what also stood the test of time? Dante's Inferno. So.
Which that's in the Bible. It's the nine
circles of hell?
9 circles of hell. That's in the Bible. It is.
I'm just saying, other books have stood the test of time just as long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know if you believed in ghosts or not. So I had to ask that. I feel like we talked about it briefly, but mostly because we talked about aliens.
Yeah.
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 So it's.
I also feel like you haven't. I mean, this is not offensive, and I love you. But I also feel like you haven't had the most diverse life experiences to know about certain things.
What do you mean?
You haven't had a lot of really terrible experiences, which I have had. You haven't had a lot of supernatural encounters, it seems like.
See, well, and that's kind of...
or do you write it off?
So I've had a lot of friends. Like I said, growing up, I've had friends who were Wiccan, and that told me that, they could see ghosts and things like that. And they see a lot to things.
Wiccan is more about nature.
Well, yeah, but there's different forms of, I guess, Wiccanism and things like that.
They can be pagan.
Yeah, that too. I've had pagan friends. But they tend to see, like, ghosts and things like that. And they always tell me that usually they don't, like, I guess they don't come around me. But that goes a little...
I don't think you're in tune with that.
No. It's weird. As much as I've tried to be in tune with it, I can't really see or feel, like, that type of stuff. But I mean, when I trained, I used to train in martial arts and things like that, but I also trained the way, like, the real style that I use is, about, like, it would actually more so sound like mysticism, almost like the Tai Chi with the whole, like, the energy manipulation and thing like that. And
see, I don't know if I buy that.
See, exactly. But and I've even tested it. I've tested it multiple times because, like I said, I don't just, like, I like to test something, right? So I'll do something in a certain way, like manipulate my energy in a certain way. I used to do, like, give massages and stuff like that. That, like, I wouldn't even touch them, just, like, barely, like, just like this, right? And just run, like, while they're face down and try and tell them if they could feel any difference or any warmth or anything like that. And
that's the same thing as a sugar pill, though. Like, people are like, "Oh, it's working," and it's nothing.
No, I've even done, like, so once you get to a certain point, you can actually put your energy inside of different objects and things like that, right?
Does that mean you believe an object can be possessed?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, it's the same thing.
Well, it's just, not necessarily.
Inhabiting an object.
Different energies and
Isn't
stuff.
a spirit just an energy? Yes.
Well, yeah, but anywho, I've had different types of energies where I can make my energy feel like it's really hot. I can make it feel like it's really wet and cold, really icy. So I'm like, all right, no.
No, I was gonna make a joke.
So I took an object and I put a little bit of energy into it without anyone really knowing or whatever. And I gave this, basically it was actually one of my bokens or whatever, like I used to train with and everything. So something I'm used to, training with and stuff like that. So
a weapon?
So it was a lot easier for me to actually do this. And I would let her do it. She, they would chase each other around and whatever. And when I took her, I was like, all right, did you feel any, like, I wouldn't hint at anything. I would just ask them, like, yeah, it was like really weird, like really wet and cold or whatever. And so I've done a lot of different experiments and things. But another way, because, we have 3 basic energies once you're trained to be able to use them. You have the offensive, which, you see in movies where it's like Tai Chi stuff, like they punch like a watermelon and blow it up. or like they poke it or something like that. Like Steven Skull. Oh, you're actually keeping this? Oh God, no! I don't want them to know this.
Why?
Because this is.
Then why are we talking about it? Let's keep it. We need the episode.
This is just for you.
We need the episode.
Anywho, and stuff like that. And then you have like defensive energy, so it's like, you know, building up an energy for obviously, you know, being able to not take as much damage and stuff like that. And then we have neutral healing.
Wait, you just said Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
I just asked you the other night if you knew who he was because we were talking about his wife in that movie, and you're like, I don't know who it is.
I know Steven Seagal.
No, the chick in the movie we watched.
I don't know the chick.
The science movie we watched.
Oh, Weird Science?
Yeah, and I was like, she was married to him, and he like, I don't know who he is. I just asked you about this. You just said you didn't know who he was.
Oh, I know who he is. Anywho. And then we have neutral energy, which is used for like healing, which a lot of times, like even back in the day, through meditation and things like that, because meditation, a lot of people write it off as just whatever, but there are hundreds of different reasons and different ways to meditate. And one of those ways would be to actually, well, one, you could regulate your body temperature. So
wait, what does this have to do with spirituality?
Just whatever. Just relax. Anyways, you can use it to regulate body temperature. You can even use it to, you know, focus on your energy and actually speed up your healing process. But eventually, once you learn to do so, you can start to project your energy. So you can, like when I do massages and things like that, which I'm horribly out of practice on.
This man has given me one massage that I had to beg for.
No, you didn't. No,
I'd asked for it. I did too. I'd asked for it like 3 times.
No, I told you, remember? I told you, hey, come here. We're going to push this table out. And the whole time you're asking, what are you doing? What are you doing? I sat you down and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because you kept promising me you were going to give me a massage and I had to keep asking for it, and eventually you did it. Yeah.
Anywho, but you use energy to help other people heal and everything. Well, with that same concept, using defensive energy, you could create barriers and things like that. So normally when I'm like, you know, with people that think that they see spirits or anything like that, or they see like scary stuff, I've had someone tell me that they saw some weird like demonic dog or something that would like follow them around.
Ooh.
Or something like that.
Oh.
But when I'm around,
nothing happens?
Yeah, apparently not. See, like I said, I can't say anything because I never saw or I could never feel anything, so I don't know. But I didn't say...
You never had like a really bad aura about a room? You never walked in an area you're like...
Yes. Sometimes yes.
That you could
Actually,
never...
I have quite a few times before. I have. And that's where I'm like, all right, screw this. Send out the barrier. But yeah, I was always told that like there's a certain point that they don't pass with me. I'm like, sweet, so it's working.
Well, you have a weird vibe about you anyways, honey.
But then again, though,
you have a defense, you have a weird wall against you.
I've been out of practice for so many years that I'm nowhere near how I was back in my prime.
No, but you look at you and you're not like, oh, that's a very spiritual person. You look like someone who is not open to things, just visually.
Yeah. I'm so out of practice. I mean, there was a certain time to where rather than seeing it, I could feel it and like different energies and things like that. And basically everything in the world, everything in existence gives us an energy, whether it's an animate or even an inanimate object. You know, tables, walls, everything gives off energy. But, you know, obviously the living give off the strongest energy because it's more of a flowing pattern and everything. So I used to love to I'd go find a good tree to be able to meditate next to and be able to do. And, I used to be able to just, do that whole horrible stereotypic thing, putting your hand on the tree and just, being able to actually feel the energy flowing through it, into the roots, everything like that.
Okay, I've never heard of that before. That's weird.
There's an actual certain technique that was made by a lot of people that use earth elements and stuff like that because we're all one of the 7 elements predominantly. And there's an earth element technique that actually was the first thing I learned on how to use trees to actually find people. Like, it doesn't matter where you go in the woods or whatever, just by using a simple whatever, I could find you.
You can't find me. I'm sneaky.
It's always worked. But it's really interesting is that being able to feel the difference because...
wait, let me ask you a question then.
What?
So if you think you can find people through energy and stuff, do you think psychics are real who feed off energy?
It depends. It's so overrated now that to find a legitimate psychic, probably not.
Because there is like, there's a whole show called like
Possibly,
Psychic
yeah.
Detectives.
Possibly, yeah. No, yeah. But, I mean, obviously, people who are actually genuine aren't going to really use it for profit and things like that.
Well, you don't use it for profit always. It's just to help solve things.
Yeah.
But do you think that's like a thing?
I mean, it could be. Possibly, yeah.
But anyways, I think we kind of rambled on about religion and spirituality and everything for a little bit. But thank you guys for joining us for today's case.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about the rambling. I hope you didn't mind. And we'll see you next time.
Till next week.